Ever since the public learned about it, the program for using harsh interrogation techniques on terrorism suspects has been highly controversial. And White House officials have said only that there was legal approval for the program. But sources tell ABC News that in the tense years after the 9/11 attacks, the president's principal advisors were personally involved in approving the details of specific interrogations. ABC's Jan Crawford Greenberg has tonight the results of a 5-month investigation.
The discussions in the White House were top secret, and sources say involved some of the president's most senior and influential advisors, principals of the National Security Council. In dozens of private talks and meetings, sources said a handful of top advisors discussed specific high-value al-Qaeda prisoners and exactly how those prisoners would be interrogated, whether, for example, they would be slapped, pushed, deprived of sleep, or subjected to simulated drowning, called waterboarding. The discussions about the enhanced interrogation techniques were so detailed, sources said, the interrogations were almost choreographed, down to the number of times the CIA could use a specific tactic. Former CIA Director George Tenet, in an interview last year with ABC News, told Charles Gibson,
"It was authorized. It was legal, according to the Attorney General of the United States."
It also was discussed and approved in meetings of the National Security Council's Principals Committee, a group that included Vice President Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, Donald Rumsfeld, George Tenet, John Ashcroft.
The meetings were chaired by then National Security Advisor Rice. They took place here at the White House. It was in the aftermath of September 11th. Top officials feared another terror attack was imminent. Information about al-Qaeda was scarce.
The CIA and FBI in Pakistan had captured top al-Qaeda official Abu Zubaydah. He was uncooperative. National security advisors, with Attorney General Ashcroft's approval, discussed in one-on-one briefings how the CIA could get him to talk. Soon after, Zubaydah was waterboarded. It is not clear whether any of the principals objected. Officials say Zubaydah gave up valuable information that led them to 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Justice Department lawyers had written a top-secret memo formally approving harsh interrogation methods so long as they did not inflict pain that is difficult to endure. But even with that authority, sources say CIA Director Tenet wanted reassurance his agents would be protected. He returned to the White House again and again to get approval. According to sources, Tenet proposed a plan that combined enhanced techniques in a single interrogation. Around the table in the Situation Room, sources said several advisors present, including Vice President Cheney, gave him the okay. Sources said Ashcroft was troubled by the discussions. He argued that while the tactics were legal, senior advisors should not be involved in the grim details. One top official said Ashcroft asked out loud after one meeting, "Why are we talking about this in the White House? History will not judge this kindly." In 2004, the Justice Department withdrew the controversial legal memo, which had leaked to the press. But the CIA had captured a new al-Qaeda suspect. The CIA again returned to the senior advisors for permission to continue using certain enhanced interrogation techniques. In a meeting that summer, sources said Rice was decisive, telling the CIA, "This is your baby. Go do it."
Now, President Bush and other top officials in the years since have insisted the techniques were legal and produced critical information that saved lives. Charlie?
But Jan, you identified the principals that were there in the Situation Room, and I know you tried to contact all of them today. What reaction and what response did you get?
Well, Charlie, that's right. We reached out to the principals. We could not reach Attorney General Ashcroft. The others said through their spokesman that they would not comment. The Secretary Powell said through his assistant that there were hundreds of principals committee meetings on a variety of topics and that he could not recall specifics. And even if he could, he was not at liberty to discuss those meetings anyway.
All right.